It's an idea to help the homeless so they don't have to live on the street, and it's to create small homes from shipping containers or prefabricated materials. It could be one part of the solution. It's not the only thing that needs to be done, but it's been raised in other municipalities, in other states and other countries. If you're living on the street, a small home that's secure from wind and rain, that's got electricity and gas and warmth, even if it's small, and even if it's maybe it doesn't look like a fancy house in the eastern suburbs, that still gives you security. It gives you an address, so when you go to looking for work, you can say I live somewhere. You can give them an address. It's very hard to get a job if you tell somebody that you're homeless. It's usually maybe one room, with sink, toilet, and maybe partitioned a little bit for a living area. But it's quite small. It's modest. I guess some people would say that's all the poor deserve is a tiny home. No, this is a tiny home is one rung up the ladder from being homeless. The ultimate is to have a proper home with a garden that's environmentally friendly, that's got all the facilities that a modern family and a modern person needs, and is affordable. That's the ultimate. But when you're on the bottom rung, when you're sleeping on the streets, a tiny home can be a big step up. So I've asked the council to look at what's the possibility of erecting some council homes on disused council land, on asking private owners of land that they're sitting on, maybe they're land banking or they're just not using it, whether we could entice them to allow us to put tiny homes there, to take people off the street, to make them safer, to give them security, to give them the opportunity to go and get work and to give them some stability in their life. Yeah, well, I mean, first of all, not everybody who's homeless would want to live in a tiny home. Some people who are homeless may prefer to live with friends, stay on the public housing waiting list. They might be close to getting the money to rent privately. The homeless are as diverse as any other section of society. The idea that everyone who's homeless has got a mental health issue or is, it's not true. Today now, we've got lots and lots of people who are homeless who never thought a year ago that they would be homeless. There are many, many people that are one paycheck away from not being able to pay the rent. And if you get kicked out because you can't pay the rent, you get a bad record, it's much, much harder to rent. There's no use looking at public housing. There's 80,000 on the waiting list. So in terms of picking, who would get a tiny home, say we were to create 100 for the sake of argument. Well, first of all, we'd see who wanted one. And I think that would have to give, I personally think would give priority to people with children, people who have got any type of disability, people those who will find it hardest to get into the private rental market, who are the most vulnerable, I think should have priority.